So a quick overview on our presentation. So we're going to start off with a video analysis, then talk about what actually is ASL, the parameters of ASL, what's lost in the translation of ASL, how to combat what's lost, what's gained in translation, the translation and meaning, and then finally with our conclusion.
So the basis of our presentation stems from a video by Vox called How Sign Language Innovators Are Bringing Music to the Deaf. This video is essentially about a translator named Amber Galloway Gallego and the struggles that come with translating music to the deaf. Ever since the 1990s, the Americans with Disabilities Act has required venues to hire a translator. In her case, it's translating English to ASL.
So what is ASL? ASL is its complete, unique, complex language that employs signs made by moving hands combined with facial expressions and postures of the body. It is the primary language of many North Americans who are deaf and is one of several communication options used by people who are deaf or hard of hearing. ASL is a fairly new language, only being approved in the 1960s.
Now, just like all languages, ASL has parameters of its own, or its own rules. These parameters are hand shape, palm orientation, location of the hand, movement, and non-manual markers. So for hand shape, it's pretty self-explanatory. Similar to the shape of a letter in English, the shape of the palm is crucial in forming words and sentences. For example, when signing the word dad, your fingers should not be touching, instead they should be spread apart. They should not be bent, they should be straight. Next is palm orientation, or the way your palm is facing when you make a sign. Again, using the example of the sign for dad, if your palm would be facing down or up or any other way, it would be the completely wrong word. Location of the hand is also a crucial element of ASL, as a lot of the signs look alike but are dictated by the location of the hand. So for example, the sign for mom is very similar to dad. However, mom is here and dad is here. Now movement. The movement of the hand also dictates the difference between two signs that look alike. For instance, the sign for grandpa is in the same location, has the same hand position, and the same palm orientation, but the only thing that differs is the movement. So this is the sign for grandpa, and this is the sign for dad. So there are noticeable differences, and this is crucial when interpreting not only songs, but regular speech as well. And last is non-manual markers, which are the various facial expressions, head tilting, shoulder raising, mouthing, and similar signals that are added to hand signs to create meaning. Now keep in mind, ASL interpreters have to focus on all of these parameters while trying to maintain the emotion, the tone, and all of the other components that a song has at the rate of which the song is playing.
So these 5 parameters are used to translate direct English into sign language. This is known as a pure translation. This pure translation is what is used by many translators at musical events. The problem is not all words can be translated directly without spelling, meaning the speed or flow of the song is ultimately destroyed. For example, rap songs are known for a fast speed. On the other hand, R&B is very slow-paced. The pace of the song gives the listener a different feel, even if the two songs had the same lyrics. Another example is if they had to spell like a name in the song. This also disrupts the flow of the song. The flow of the song is a mixture of the word play and speed, which both are impacted through translation. Another thing that's lost in translation is the tone of the singer. The singer's attitude towards the song is found in the way they sing the song. So there's a challenge to demonstrate this tone as a translator. Some obvious things that are also lost in translation are the pitch and the rhyme scheme. This is because both of these are really solely based on sound, which is very hard to show visually. So, combating what's lost. These things that are lost are currently trying to be fixed by multiple translators, such as Amber. For example, Amber has created many symbols and gestures for words that cannot be directly translated. This allows us to keep up with the speed of rappers such as Eminem. One issue that arises is that these newest ASL creative gestures might not be understood by everyone at first. For tone, the translator's body expression can depict this. For example, songs that are like for a screamo song, it can be very intense body movements, just like in the image below. In a way, these new creative components are things that are gained.
So now things that are gained in translation. So just like any other translation from one language to another, there are going to be pros to it. For ASL specifically, there's a gain in energy and drama. ASL being such a visual and interactive language, there's just no question as to how ASL can bring energy and drama to any concert or to any venue. Another thing that is gained is the feeling of being included. Being that listening to music and going to concerts is mainly a hearing activity, the use of interpreters and translation brings together both the deaf and the hearing to allow enjoyment from both communities. And lastly, being that ASL is such an interactive language, once again, another thing that can be gained is the ability to express yourself more physically and open. Translation and meaning now. But when it comes down to translating the meanings of songs, there's a choice between translating the lyrics and sound, meaning the interpreter would either sign the melody or the lyrics because not every deaf person has the same range of hearing. Some may be able to hear the melody better than others. So to combat this, interpreters have been using this technique where they sign both simultaneously, combining signs, body motions, and facial expressions to emulate the effect that music has on the ears. One interpreter uses the example of Aerosmith's Dream On as a way to express the lyrical and instrumental elements into a visual form using sign. So the song starts off slow and then builds up in energy until eventually the chorus starts. This is when the signs would become larger and more prominent. They would be wider than his shoulders, and his facial expressions and his body movements would be emulating the expression or mood that the song is portraying. Interpreting music to the deaf is still a super controversial job, as the meaning of one song to an interpreter can be completely different from the interpretation of the audience, meaning the interpreter can be translating only his or her perception of the song, so that is only what the audience is receiving. This is why translators should have a greater understanding of the song or songs that they are interpreting so that their audience can connect better with the music and experience it the way it was intended to be.
So conclusion. There is definitely meaning lost through translation. After all, it is hard to portray sound as something visual. Currently, translators are trying to think of creative ways to show this. Unfortunately, it will take time for these new creative translations to be understood by the entire deaf community as a whole.